welcome back to Everything from Nothing. This week we've 3 guests, not 1, not 2, but 3.
Well-known band.
Yeah, exactly. Flor O'Mahony, we've Michael Hughes and Sean Coffey. And Sean's a friend of mine from Thurles. You probably all know Sean anyway from Thurles.
The voice anyway.
Exactly, yeah. So, maybe we'll go over to Sean first and say how it came about that we chatted about this, about putting on this podcast.
Well, Michael wants credit for it. Okay, first of all.
Good man.
But the reason we're here is we all met in St. John of God's 25 years ago, all in probably the darkest moment of our lives. And it was in meeting in St. John of God's we became lifelong friends. Wow. Just like people who go through war together, we went through war together. Okay. My Facebook page is, which people I think have seen, about the Band of Brothers. Yeah. We've all realised how important it is to talk about this subject, because if we can't talk about it, how can we expect somebody who's going through it to talk about it? And even for family members who see it happening in front of their eyes and find it difficult to communicate or to, I hate the word reach out, but just to ask. Because we just accept it. If we saw somebody crying, we'd probably walk past them but try and give them an eye, but we wouldn't talk to them in our despair, which was a despair. And our story is that we're now 25 years, come out of it. All of us have suffered depression since. I suffered it a year afterwards. Michael unfortunately tried to take his own life and had to be hospitalized again. And Flor took an extreme level of treatment to correct ongoing bouts of depression. And this is our story, and I hope people listening and people watching get some kind of hope, because what depression does is you lose hope.
Perfect.
And that's it.
Just one thing, I suppose, quick. I didn't realise that, not everybody would know John of God. Yes. So you told me, I think you described it as the Stillorgan Hilton. What was it? and it's not part of the official hotel chain, is it?
No, because it's called Stillorgan Hilton because people didn't want to say what it was.
Okay, yeah.
They didn't want to say that's a mental hospital, which I find I'd love to see change as a hospital.
Yes.
So what were they referring it as? Sorry?
The Stillorgan Hilton.
Okay,
it
right.
It was the mental institution for people battling not just depression, girls with suffering bulimia, different types
everything psychological.
The bulimia thing, the food problem with people that weren't eating or whatever, that was huge in young people.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of young people suffer from that now, and they can all cope with it with help.
Wow.
Yeah. They can get out of that. We saw them, and like it was a tough thing to be seeing, and God, never thought that would be a thing. Back then,
There was something you said, Michael. It was like the start of a joke. A banker, a nightclub manager, and a priest walk into John of God's, not a bar, but but it shows it's all walks of life, huh?
All walks of life. Yeah. There was a guy there that actually lived in the place.
Okay.
And he went to work every day from it.
Whoa.
Worked for independent newspaper.
How long was he there? Do you know?
He was there certainly 2 to 3 years before I was there.
Wow. Okay.
He had his own room. I shared my first night with him. Wow. But he got up in the morning and went to work.
Wow.
I went down a bit deeper.
You went to therapy.
There is people
with
ongoing manageable, but he could go to work, but still he had to come back to security.
Yeah. And are you able to briefly give a sort of description onto like why or what it is that led to into you going there, or was it just stress? Was it? Yeah.
It's stress.
We all have our own unique reasons for ending there, but we all felt the same emotions. I ended up there because I was, I suppose, coping with I had joined the priesthood or enter with a religious order for 6 years, and I had come to the conclusion that I didn't want that's not the way I wanted to live my life. But I suppose maybe spending 6 years there and wondering, and I was at the age of 30, what did I do for the last 6 years, or how to transition out again, and
Flor, I love the way you told me you had one eye on the door all the time.
Yeah. Yes, that is true. From I suppose the few weeks I was in there, there was good reasons for joining, but there was all sorts of reasons. But I suppose the more unconscious reasons came probably surfaced soon after I joined, and I suppose I was 24 at that stage and felt, I was a mature adult and I knew what I was doing, and I got to give this a chance. And I suppose it was traumatic joining and making such a decision. And then was I going to? I suppose I had to give it a chance. And the more you stay with something, the more you kind of relax into it, and you kind of go with it. But yes, there was always, when I look back now, I'd always one eye on the door. And thank God, and there were, I can say nothing bad like that. I had a very good time and a very forward, no, I wouldn't say I had a very good time, but it was, I learned a lot in there, and I was, I suppose I suppressed, but making a decision again to come out. But I kind of, I suppose, I was the final year. I was getting some pastoral experience in a school in Cork, and after going down there and starting, all these emotions or feelings that I was as lost and as lonely and as all the feelings I suppose I thought would be a kind of by being in religious life that I would find my home there. I just felt as homeless, as lost as the day I went in, and when that comes to the surface, I just went into a deep depression again, and kind of paralysis of how can I losing confidence. How do I start again? And so I ended up, on a January night in '98 at about 12 o'clock at night, because I went in to speak to my director, and I just broke down crying incessantly, and he thank God, he didn't know what he could do, but he rang a friend, and the friend rang him. Listen, I think he needs to be seen by someone. He looks like, and so, or where the religious house was just down the road from the John of God Hospital. So he took me up there at about 11:30 at night, and I suppose in a way it was kind of the most bleakest night I ever experienced. That after all my 6 years, this is how it's ended. But I do believe that I do, because I still have a strong spirituality. Thank God that it didn't. I was saying I probably took the religion too seriously. Maybe I was thinking, but thank God I still have a strong belief in a higher power, or a universal love. That someone guiding us, and that Sean came in exactly the same night, same age, into the same 2-person ward. And so I had a companion there from the first night. And it's like there's a saying, we don't enter the kingdom alone, we enter it 2 by 2, or as I was saying, Ramdas was saying that we're all just walking each other home. And definitely Sean helped me to walk that journey, and we're still friends, and so that's just a bit about how I ended up there. Yeah.
And what about you, Michael? You were managing.
I had a lot of time trying to avoid it.
You seriously did, didn't you?
He's telling the truth.
What?
Yeah, unfortunately.
You were ducking a man here.
As Sean, as someone that relative said to Sean, I was dead wood. Get rid of the dead wood. If you want to survive.
Certain people are going to survive.
That came later.
But you were in Dublin managing Bad Bob's.
I was flying it. I was
not the priesthood, no?
Oh no.
He was working load of a van at the time.
I was involved in the entertainment business in a live venue called Bad Bob's. It was hugely successful.
I remember it. Yeah.
In the 80s and 90s, and
You had all the celebrities there, didn't you?
all the celebrities was there. Everybody and anybody would come just for the crack.
Yeah.
Or they would come and appear on the stage.
Who had you got? Like
Well,
who
we
jumped in?
had Jerry Lee Lewis as standing
Yeah.
and Ronnie Wood from the Rolling Stones.
Mick Hucknall, you told me.
Mick Hucknall was in, but he was in as a tourist.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
He wasn't playing. He
Yeah,
didn't play
yeah,
well. We did have
Johnny-
Ronnie Wood, Mick Hucknall
Johnny
on
Cash.
stage. Johnny Cash did not play there. No.
Oh, he didn't play there. He was
No,
just
no, no.
visiting.
Hanging.
No, he didn't hang out there. No, Todd. He was on tour. That was it.
Oh, that was something else that you were saying.
Costner.
Sorry. Okay.
Costner?
Kevin Costner was in. He was in with his
Yeah,
wife.
yeah.
Come in, stood at the back, watch the bands.
Yeah.
So it was 7 nights a week, live music, full on.
Wow.
You know, I was living outside Drogheda in a place called Manister Boyce, and I was tripping up and down twice a day, 2 young sons, and things catch up on you,
Yeah.
and you just cannot keep doing things
Like that.
like that.
No.
You just can't. The body starts saying, enough is enough, man. And my body said enough is enough. I decided I'm going to get out of this.
Yeah.
And which I did. And I said, this sounds great now. I'm away from that Bad Bob's mad place. I'm going to do my plow my own fun, plow my own funnel. What do you call it?
Yeah.
Plow, whatever you do.
Yeah.
Furrow.
Yeah.
And off I went. I looked, and with my reputation from Bad Bob's, I was able to secure some financial help with banks that we dealt with, and I bought a pub in Drogheda.
Okay.
So I was out of I left Bad Bob's in May. I had my own pub opened and running in August. Lovely bar, restaurant, flying it, everything good. Unfortunately, there was a demon in the back of my head, which was dyslexia, which I suffered from. But all the time in the Bad Bob's era and all that period of time, I was able to hide it because it wasn't. I could go off to my office and do my thing. But when I came to my own place,
There was no hiding place.
there was no hiding place. And I had my wife and whatever with me, that sort of stuff. And she was very much able to do things. And I felt, I'm not able to do that. I can't do that. Coming down to write a board for the lunch.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And of the fear of being asked to do it or have to do it, caught me, drive me down. Got to Christmas, January. In business 6 months. I'm good. I'm really good. Up to January Day and New Year's Eve. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you everybody here in Brampton. Hope you enjoyed the night. We did the whole thing on the microphone. The buzz was brilliant.
Yeah.
But then I
Crashed.
Yeah.
I was useless.
Yeah.
And became to sleep deprivation. Couldn't sleep, couldn't think. My head never stopped flying around in circuits continuously. And I mean continuous, just doesn't
Still
stop.
does.
Yeah, thanks very much. So, unfortunately, things were starting to go kind of wrong in my marriage as well, just to keep things ticking over. And I just hit a huge low. I knew there was something wrong with me. I accepted there was something wrong with me, but I didn't know where to go and what to do. And fortunately, I had a good GP in Drogheda, and he said, well, Michael, I'm looking at here, I think you should go to John of God's. And he said he happened to know a guy in John of God's, because every doctor has to do a part of it.
Yeah.
And his teacher guy was this doctor. So he got me in.
Was it difficult to have that conversation with your GP? Because I'm sure there's people that are
Not
going
in
through
the
some-
way
no,
I was.
no, yeah. You'd parked.
Yeah.
You'd gone past the point of worrying about any
I've
of
gone
that.
past the
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
Because really, and it's important for everybody to know, when you're where I was,
Yeah.
nothing's making sense. Nothing's.
Okay.
And at that stage, I was literally reaching out. Look, somebody,
Yeah.
Yeah.
give me a wee bit of dig out.
Yeah, yeah.
Where am I? What am I doing? And this man said you can go to John of God's.
Yeah.
And thankfully, that was the start
Brilliant.
of the fixing progress. But it wasn't very easy. I went up to this place, and as I said, I shared a room for a little bit at the start, and then I was put into a ward, and that was kind of lockdown. So you're in there, lads will fill you in too, some of the same.
Yeah.
You're kind of locked down. You do a lot of assessment, which you talk to people.
Yeah.
And I just vomited words.
Oh boy, did he!
I had this beautiful, lovely nurse girl. God bless her. She probably was saying, "Oh, why did I get him?"
She's still there.
I talked for 4 or 5 hours trying to
Get it all out.
Yeah.
get everything out of myself. Just say everything you have to say. See, and please God, they'll find something in it to be able to give me. So I give them everything, and what came out very strongly was the dyslexia thing. Had
Part
a
of it.
huge amount to do with this.
Yeah.
So we moved on, and I got out of that ward into a separate ward, into my own room. Boys are a bit jealous. I had my own ensuite.
The posh side.
I was on the posh side.
He got the upgrade.
I was on the posh side, and then my own room, and everything supersonic was really nice.
Wow.
But then we joined the program. Basically, I don't want to rush too
Yeah,
far
I know.
ahead.
Yeah. What about you, Sean? You were building a house at the time. Was it? It wasn't. You'd moved back from Dublin.
I don't. Well, I'd say my brother Tim would say at the time my leaving cert, I kind of had definitely an episode where stress got on top of me, and I know they were worried about my time, but I rallied through.
Yeah.
And I would people would laugh but I was very shy. And probably still can be shy, which would be people know it's just go, yeah, right. But anyway, I moved home. I'd been working in Dublin for 11 years, and my brother Chris, God rest him, had out of the blue offered us a chance to come home. Dream move. Eileen, my wife, both from Thurles, 2 young kids starting school, perfect opportunity, and hadn't just not long moved into a house, so hadn't kind of bedded in. It was no brainer. Like both sets of parents alive. Family here.
Brilliant.
He was followed Sarsfields instead of having to go home midweek, not to play, to support, but an ambition to play. But so it was just a no-brainer. And then leaving a company where it was really family. I knew everybody in there; they knew me. But delighted to move. And as I got home, the stress of working a new job. Back in town, I suppose, small town, you felt under the microscope. Dublin, you could walk and be just a face on the street. Whereas, so when you're not feeling well, and it slowly, the glass suddenly wore off, and you realise, oh my God, struggled with the job because instead of dealing with one company, you were dealing with multiple companies. Very insular office, 4 people. You could pass through where I worked without people quite noticing you. Where suddenly. You were as close. We walked this close, so you were struggling. Like your head was just starting to ask questions, and you knew the answer. You shouldn't have done this. You didn't think this out. Building a house, then, mortgage going, and everybody looking at this house going up, and I'm going, oh my God, and the realization that if this job doesn't work well, like Flor, only did one thing. Where was the other opportunity that if I did decide I could get my head right well enough to do another job, or what was I going to do? And that whole stress just he will testify this. Like I just couldn't stop crying. I could go and cry, Sean, and I could cry.
I could put my finger in front of him as a cry, Sean.
You wouldn't mind, my friend.
Why do you do that? Why do you do that?
And basically, so I realized myself, and I went to my own doctor, prescribed me a kind of low-level medication just to see if it could improve my mood. Didn't really have what I would call the immediate effect that you'd hope for. And then I just got to Christmas, and the kids being so young, it wasn't it was just, what am I going to do here? Like Michael, the same with Flor, like you suddenly realized I was trapped and I couldn't stop the thoughts. I couldn't think. I was thinking, what if? What if haunted you? The what if, not the what could, the what if. And it got to the point then where 3-4 doors down, as ironic as this, where we're here, as an evening like this, one Saturday, again, around this time of day, strangely enough, 25 years ago, I just looked at the head press door and I started, the way somebody tells you something, you go, oh God, that's so stupid. You bang your head off the door as a joke.
Yeah.
I was headbutting it.
Yeah.
Like to the point where it was amazing that I didn't knock myself out. And then I just suddenly, I don't know, somebody rang. I think my phone must have rang. And whoever was on the other end was a family member, and they basically rang my doctor, and the doctor just said, "You Sean, you spent." I burnt myself as far as I could. And I got admitted to St. John of God, and as Flor said, I was in the room. The door opened one night. I was semi-asleep, but heard the nurse bring Flor in.
Flor.
And they,
It's Flor.
come on in. The crazy DJ's down the doorway. We haven't met him yet. But this is where it all changes.
It's all downhill from there.
And then, as I said in my Facebook post, we battled. We battled our demons together.
It was huge. It was a huge war we had on. We took on a huge war because we were lost. And we spoke about the other night, like mental health, and a big thing is always used as this reference of the darkness. Yes, that is a fact. It is dark. It is seriously dark. But we're here today to tell you that the light will come.
There is a way out.
There is a way out.
Like,
and we were all on such different levels.
Yeah.
We all felt this dark, and I know it's used a lot in conversation, the dark place and all that. Yes, it is. Yes, there is such a thing as a dark place, but you can find brightness coming.
Yeah, Flor, do you remember seeing a chink of light when you were in there, or do you remember a kind of, or did it happen gradually, or what?
It happened gradually. I suppose the first chink of light was having a companion like Sean that I could talk to, and that I wasn't alone. That was the first chink of light, and then I suppose a supportive family, of course, and I suppose you took it hour by hour, day by day, and I was just a kind of an antidote. There was a man in there with us at the same time, and I think he was a solicitor, and his kind of dream was that I'd love to go to Kerry and open a pub, just retire back in Kerry. I think he wasn't from Kerry, but and he was a Bob Dylan he was a Bob Dylan fan, and a line that it kept coming into his head, from his song All Along the Watchtower was. What is it?
There must be some.
There must be some way out of here, said the Joker to the thief. There's so much confusion, I can't get no relief. And in a way, that kind of encapsulates what it feels like. Yeah. But I always remember that line, he said, and it was such an apt line. But yeah, patience and time, like another song, George Harrison. It's going to take patience and time, but we're here to tell the tale, and
We are.
that's.
You see, I think there's a misconception about when we were up with Flor, Mark, on our 25th, we met with his sister and a brother, sister-in-law, who were very good to us, and they were saying, for my family and Michael's family and Flor's family, they were looking at us going in saying, you go in and they reset your leg if you break your leg, or they operate on you if it's physical, and you can see them. God, are they okay? And you're getting a medical report.
Yeah.
It's
obvious,
all the medical analysis of your blood and your heart rate is for family to say, yeah, he's improving.
Yeah.
There's nothing to see with this. This is invisible. Like, people are walking down the street today in Ireland, in the world, where we were trapped in our heads and not seeing any logic to our thoughts.
No light.
Every thought was predominantly negative. And what St. John of God's did was it gave us, so Flor's family were saying, well, and my own family, and I'm sure Michael said, well, what are they doing in there? Well, what happened in there was we got a break from stress of life. We were put into a room, and what happened was that we were self-help, but the staff were self-help because they were watching whether we were eating, they were watching whether we got out of bed on time. They watched, they were watching, were you engaging? Did you go to the classes? Did you engage with the hospital, what they were trying to provide you? Because they do the same as what a medical hospital does. They will try and repair your brain to the point where you begin to trust in yourself, challenge your thoughts, say what's real, what's not, who not to talk to and who to. But and then in recognizing that we weren't going crazy.
Yeah.
We weren't, this is not us, there was more people outside that needed to be inside.
Yes.
And we were the lucky ones, but so they were watching us. And
weren't that lucky at the time?
No, it didn't feel lucky at all. Like, because I like what Michael said. Like, I found the morning the hardest. So you're lying in bed. The trick is to get out of bed. Don't lie in bed, because lying in bed, your head just spins. They see people who are chronic depressive. They want to lie in bed because then they don't have to engage. That's the natural thing, but the mornings were the worst. You know, they were really a challenge. But in the hospital, the staff were always watching you. Like Michael said, they'd say, do you want to talk? You met a psychiatrist, I'd say 4 times over a 6-week stint. And I can't remember the second time. And the second time was more disturbing because you thought this is going to be it for life. This is going to be a repetitive nature. But in the hospital, it was true friendship, through that commonality. And then just the light started to creep back in. There was 10 minutes in a day when you felt normal, and then there was an hour in the day you felt normal. But then you would have a day when you didn't feel normal and you felt you were going back to fucking square one again.
But I think it's a big one with the progression. Where we started, i.e. sharing the room together, locked in basically. And
you locked in.
Then you
couldn't go. You could not go out that door.
No.
You had to go with me.
That's mad, yeah.
But the point now is we want to move just a little bit further on, is that we had structure to our day. So you had got up, you had your breakfast, you went for for walks, and then you had lunch, then you had classes, then you had dinner at night, then you had visitors, whatever, and then your day was completely structured. Now, I'm completely opposite to you. I couldn't wait to get up, because I said I was in such a hurry to get fixed. If I get out early in the morning, we used to do the exercise around the yard. I was
Running.
Sebastian Cole, here I come.
I was so busy to get myself fixed.
Were you trying to get back to the pub,
I was so focused on fixing myself. I had to fix this thing. Whatever this is, I want to get to what the bit is that fixes it. Please, I'm in a hurry here. And we all were. But as we said, the structure thing and doing this, that, and the other, that brought us on.
Yeah.
It brought on. You were brought on. And you were talking about chunks of light. I only make references. You go to these classes continuously. And I had this eureka moment one day. All these classes that felt like, oh God, we're here again.
Make another cast.
And you're listening. And it's all very good and blah, 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 blah. And it's grand. But there was all a reason for them.
Yeah.
Here's the tea.
Yeah.
Pizza. There was a reason for these classes to get you. And I had this unbelievable moment of, as I described, as a Venetian blind moment.
Yeah, you did,
when the blinds opened and the light came in. And to me, that was, there is a chance. There is something coming. There is an end to this.
Right. Do you remember that?
The beginning of that.
Eureka moment. You remember it? Yeah.
I remember it very well in my head, but I can't tell you
why.
When?
Yeah.
How it was within the class. She was a female lady or doing more cognitive therapy or whatever it was. And he just, no, I didn't jump up and say, hey!
It's like,
I'm out of here.
That's it, I'm done. See you, good luck. And it took ages afterwards. Obviously, then there's medication. It's structured as well. I was afraid of my life of medication. Some people thought it was the best thing to use. Some people come to the tablets and say, I got 9. You only got 7. Nothing wrong with you. I had 4 and I wasn't telling anyone.
is it just
so there was different things with that. And then there was a film that time, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah.
And you were saying, oh, I'm here for life. But you knew there was a way out. So things did start moving.
Just with the topic of the eureka moment there, sorry, it just it kind of reminded me like when I would have gone through like depression myself, like I was like for years, like, and I remember I couldn't pinpoint like where I got better, but I remember the moment when I realized, oh, like you said, like where you have that moment where like, oh wait, because I remember like it was like I was like lying in bed beside my girlfriend and just like we're listening to music, and then I was just like thinking, I don't remember the last time I felt shit. And you know, it was like it was that whole thing of like it was such a lovely moment where it's like I couldn't pinpoint when I got better, but I had the moment where I realized I'm okay. And like right now in this moment, I'm okay.
Well, you're okay in that moment, and then you hope to build in those moments.
Yeah.
And you go back.
And Hugh, though, for people listening, that's the message. Like you said it there. You think this is never going to end.
Never.
And what happens with people who, unfortunately, we're all here, is that people give in. And I can get. I'm sorry for getting emotional. Like I get why people give in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Becomes just draining.
Yeah.
And they just go and do the most desperate act.
Yeah.
You know, that is why we're here, lads. Jesus, it's fucking like people don't realise that light, that moment will come.
Yeah.
It's really hanging on to a fucking rope, and I'm sorry for cursing, and just clinging. Because it will.
Yeah.
Or a thread,
That drag of trying to pull you down, and that's what it does. Like, it's a killer condition.
Yeah.
It is a killer.
But you're never to give up. You don't give up.
You think there's
fight it all the time. You do not
give up?
That
No.
light will come.
It'll be like that moment. It will be like that moment.
That's a lovely one. I like that.
It's excellent.
Yeah.
It's exactly. You finally realise, God, actually, that day wasn't as bad
As-
Yeah.
as yesterday.
Yeah.
And that's the curtain. That's the moment. And then you suddenly, God, it can be different because every day was Groundhog Day.
Do you think we all?
Before you went in, and when you went in, even when you went in, it's not an instant. Here's the tablets, and
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
going to be better in 4 weeks. Your
That-
leg is going to be off in 6
and
weeks.
the fact
we didn't know when we were getting out. Like
the fact that it's not instant as well, like at the start you end up feeling worse. Because I remember when I first went on to like antidepressants and stuff, and I thought, okay, I'm going to be better now. And then when I wasn't, I was like, oh God, there's something really wrong with me.
Yes.
If like the things that I meant to do aren't helping me, and then you kind of start feeling like, and then when you're not able to do simple things like, you know, like I wouldn't even want to admit how long I went without showers when I was depressed, like, or how long I went without like eating proper meals, or like how much or what percentage of my time was spent in bed. You know, it's like.
To anybody that sounds mad, I don't be saying, well, how would you not do that? But you go, that's where you be.
Yeah.
That's where he didn't see anything at all wrong with that. You know, am I right? You did
Yeah,
that's
like that's the way most people with depression will have that kind of thing, that where it just all structure goes out, which is great to see that when you went into the John of God, you got that structure back.
Yes.
Because trying to give that structure to
what they
yourself
do. That's
is so difficult.
That's very important.
They repair
Your
you
sleep,
then.
sleep deprivation is another huge one. Huge one. Because you tire out that brain of yours that can't fight.
Yes.
Can't
Yeah.
fight. Too tired, can't fight.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to know about it.
Yeah.
And then you go deeper, deeper,
Sleep,
deeper.
I'd say definitely.
So that was very important to them, your sleep.
yeah.
Do you think, Michael, that you were like in too much of a hurry? Or you told me that story about where you were going home for the weekend and you were fully fixed and.
Oh, yeah. And I was in a hurry. I was in a hurry to get fixed straight away. And had a decent, we have a good few little stories at that.
Yeah.
I was in a hurry to be fixed, yes. I had thought I had this wonderful idea that I feel good. And you kind of get an idea to say, you want to go home for the weekend?
I graduated.
That's great. Yeah, I think I'm going to go home. And I went home. Unfortunately, I didn't go to my own home. I went to my parents.
Yeah.
And I got on a train or a bus and a train and got to Dundalk and out to my parents where I should be. I'm loved so much and everything.
Yeah.
I sat down in the sitting room and my mother was getting me a cup of tea and I said, Mother, I can't handle this.
Yeah.
I don't have to come in 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours to get there. I just had to get back up and back in the train and go back into Dundalk.
You weren't ready.
I'd imagine, like, definitely.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you, Michael?
Yeah,
Off I went back in.
I'd imagine it's like an extreme, and you know, I've definitely, it's more extreme version than I would have experienced, but like definitely being depressed in the past, it's like, it's weird when like, you know, if you might be in like a bit of a hole or whatever, and there might be that moment of like, I'll go outside or I'll go for a walk or I'll get up and try and do something.
Yeah.
And then there's something strange about seeing everyone else be normal as if nothing's happening. It's that like hardest feeling. And I think that's like, you know, the contrast of that would be 10 times more in that situation.
But it's a much better, I hope it is, I believe it is, but
Yeah.
we're here to feature this thing.
Yeah.
I think the setup now is better. Now we're talking 25 years ago.
Yeah,
course,
yeah.
We're here together.
Yeah.
And in fairness, it was good then. Like it was as good as you'll get, and You know,
The
it,
structure.
it was one of the top places.
Oh no, I don't know the place was.
Yeah.
But it's what people thought.
Oh,
of.
right,
yeah,
right.
of course.
sorry.
And like
Yeah.
society's acceptance
people
of
didn't
it.
want to really
Yeah.
know much about you.
Yeah.
Sure, they wouldn't even, as you
No,
were saying, we're calling it a hotel. Like, you know,
Yeah,
like
that
that's-
was-
But,
Hilton,
the challenge as well is like we have got past them where I work in a bank where it is very much well-being.
Yes.
You know,
Yes,
if
right.
anything's challenging us on any level, but particularly,
Definitely, yeah.
you know, but where we need to move back, you know, like we call it the Slorgan Hilton, but it's a hospital, and
Yeah.
where I have a problem is it's down as a mental hospital.
Yeah.
It's a hospital,
Exactly.
and our physical health
They describe it as a
impacts our
hospital, didn't they?
physical health though impacts our mental health. If
Absolutely.
they say my brother
Yes.
Chris unfortunately died of cancer, and the challenge that people say, oh, it's as mental, it's fighting the condition, but then fighting it in your head.
Yeah.
But so the cancer unfortunately affects people's heads, and they don't have the mental strength to do their walking or do whatever they feel they need to do to help themselves, you know, mentally. But this can affect you physically.
Yeah.
Like they say that they're all connected. There's
of
no,
course.
my head is not fucking separated
Yeah,
from my body.
yeah,
so
yeah.
it's filtered here, and when my
Yeah.
illness is coming. So it is one and the same.
Yes.
And I accept there's oncology and whatever, X-ray and all the different departments we go to in hospital. But we shouldn't distinguish that that's the mental health department. That's the whatever. It's part collective health.
Definitely.
And I think we need to move past it being more than what we're doing. And like I say, if I meet you, we have to be able to say, are you doing okay? And if you say, I'm not, you know, it's not okay. It's like, I'm actually struggling.
Yeah.
I'd be struggling. If I was limping, you'd say, are you all right? with my
Yeah.
leg?" But if I'm looking down and I'm not meeting you eye to eye,
Yeah.
you're seeing something, and I'm not going to have the courage to tell you, by
Yeah.
the way, because you can't see it. You know, my
Yeah.
wife has gone through it, my son has gone through it. So you put it on the, we have to have the courage just to say, hey, do you want to go for a cup of coffee? Or are you okay? And your friend, you're looking at your kid, you're looking at your best friend, and you're looking at your girlfriend, you're looking at your boyfriend. You know they're struggling. You got to have the courage to say, look, I know this is uncomfortable for you, but
Yeah.
I need to tell you what I'm seeing here. And and that gives them the opportunity, because I'm not, when I was down, I couldn't meet you. I
Yeah.
would talk Sarsfields, I would talk whatever I want.
Yeah.
Couldn't get where I was in my head, and I want you to leave me alone as quickly as
Yeah,
possible
yeah.
so I could lock myself back into my head.
Yeah.
Instead of unlocking, because that's what St. John of God did. It gave us the chance to talk
Yes.
where everybody was going through the same thing.
Yes.
Like, I wondered why he was there. Like,
Yeah.
he was like on speed.
I own
I
that.
thought this guy was like kind of, we're going to do your story for a second. So
Yeah.
I got up on my review. I got discharged 6 weeks later. We thought Flor was a lifer. We
Turn the keys away, Clark.
Flor was loving it.
We'll come visit you. We'll come back.
Don't worry, Clark. They'll feed you well.
Just hang tough. We'll send the ladder. But I went back anyway. Michael had been discharged before me, about 2 weeks before me, and then they bring you back for a month review to make sure, because they get to the point where they can't do any more for us.
Yeah.
Or any of us. Like we have to then start to operate on our own.
Good, yeah.
And they deemed me fine, and I lost value in myself, is what I did, you know. And I tell it straight, I got better, and I have no embarrassment saying I lost value. I thought no one loved me, and
Yeah.
then I realized God loved me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm not bragging about it, but I know the guys would recognize it, and that allowed me to put more value in myself and to accept that my family loved me, because in that stage you don't think anybody can cope with this. This guy is screwed. Just let him go. You know, like we talked about Flor. I felt I should be let go. You know, and then I saw that light. That was my rope. That
Yeah.
became
Do
my
you,
rope.
do you remember the moment you thought about God, like, you know,
Well,
where you
I've
got that
always,
insight?
my
was
mother,
Yeah.
and my father, and it was something either I believe in, and I
Yeah.
no proof, but they let me out, and they felt I was good enough, and I felt I was strong enough. I really did. I just got stronger within myself. I'm not challenging where the two lads came from, but I probably just, as I say, lost value. Once I could get value back into myself, I knew I could do it. Like, you know, I had this belief. And then I came out, and Michael had been discharged, and I said Michael was just like, why is he here? Like, and I met Flor down in the cafe, and met Flor with two other people who were still in there, and Flor said, you know Michael's back. And I said, what? And there I'm going to go to
Michael.
Well,
Yeah,
Michael.
Yeah, unfortunately, I got out and I done all the things. This is after the time I saw the light and the whole lot and everything was coming on. I was on a little bit of medication, everything. Well, the reason, not a lot of medication, but I was on medication. I went back, unfortunately, to look at the business, the new pub that I'd started with. In between times, my wife told me she wanted to leave, and that caused complications where my life was going to go. And I went into the pub and I saw everything that's going on, and still I loved it so much, and I just said, my life's done. I was so selfish. I don't know what it was. I just felt, I've worked too hard on my life for all this, and here I am, and I'm after doing my time in John of God, and I'm back out, and I'm not good. And I stupidly had some drink. I got a bit annoyed, left the pub, went off home, and I found every tablet I could in the house, everything, anything and anything I had the coating on it. I had it. I took it, I drank it, I did whatever I had to do with it. I went into my kids, 2 of them, they were only 7 and 9, and knelt beside them in the bed. I said goodbye to them. It's crazy stuff. And I went and wrote this mad letter that seemed to go on forever and ever, and the letter seemed to go bigger and bigger and bigger. And me I dyslexic, I couldn't spell it. Mumbo jumbo. And, I went off into another world, and I was sure I was gone, and that was the end of me. I didn't know because I wasn't able to tell myself I was gone.
Yeah.
And I woke up in emergency, and I was a bit annoyed that I woke up.
You woke up beside Flor, did you?
I would have been I'll never. It's just a thing.
I'd say he wished he would have. What the first face you saw?
Flor!
Oh my God. No, I'm not even going to say that. I want to know what it is. But it was. It
wasn't me anyway.
It was my ex-wife.
Okay.
And it was actually too. It was so I had to cope with that, but that put me in a whole different ball game. Yeah. Suicidal. And it's caused major trouble. But I had to go back to John of God.
Okay.
So that wasn't pleasant.
No.
So you go back in, you're back to square one. It's not the fact that I'd been ready there for 7-8 weeks.
No.
I was back to snakes and ladders. That's what I used to call it.
Yes.
You know, snakes and ladders.
Okay.
You were back down. It's back down the days.
Shit.
And you just had to face the thing. You had to do the shared room thing. Start off. You had to leave your belt. You leave all your bits and pieces. You had to leave your razor, even though they all know you. Mickey, what are you doing here? No, what am I doing here? Yes, when I tell you the story. And we'll start again.
Shit.
But the fortunate bit was I'd learned so much.
Cool.
I was able to get it together.
But the relevance, and I know, look again, there's people watching and maybe they lost somebody.
Here I am.
It's for the people
Yeah.
who where Michael's at, and feel they're getting to where Michael's at, where we've all been at.
Yeah.
Like it's not that if Flor would say the same. That is not a thought, but I think why Flor's story now is even more relevant in a minute.
Yeah.
It's to realise we've all been at different levels, and that's the lowest. But he got a break, like
I got a break.
you know, and it's just that
break.
desperation that you have to watch the warning sign, because went from, you know, we've all met people. And you go, I only met them last night.
Yeah.
Like somebody would, if you didn't make it, somebody go, he was only in the pub last night.
I spoke to people in the pub and blah blah blah, pulled pints, and that was fine. But I do want to just the caveat was the reason I survived was like I'd taken so much stuff. The reason I survived was I had been unready on some of the stuff from the hospital.
Yeah.
So I took everything I
So
had.
your body
was
used to it,
my
like.
system
Was used to it.
as bad. So
Wow.
and timing that I just got. okay, 2 or 3 hours, it was gone. But I was got quick enough, and it didn't shock my system, so I was able to.
But the secret is, Michael, you're now 25 years
I am
on,
25
be
years
married.
old, baby.
Be married and look at him, and you wouldn't know it. Like, this is the point,
Yeah.
you wouldn't know.
No.
And I don't think you'd know from any of us.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't.
People
Well,
will watch
yeah.
this, they'll say,
Yeah.
they'll know him, they'll know me, they'll know Flor, and they'll say,
Yeah.
we're just,
Well,
we're just
we-
an individual, but we're no different to what's
Anybody
going on
else.
out there.
So you meet
Yeah.
people on the street, you don't, you know.
But you do. All you have like a very genuine like light in the eyes that does not come on people. Just you can't gain that light. Like that's a gained light and it's earned light,
Yes.
and
Oh,
you all
gotta
have
work
that.
at it.
So it gets very hard for people to be able to see that. When you see someone with that light in their eyes, you tend to think, good, it's simple and lovely. But really, in reality, everyone that has that light in their eyes
Yeah.
worked for it or went
Yeah.
through it. Like and yeah.
but it's to give people understanding that for a family member, that
Very
give
hard
them
for family.
to give them
Yeah.
hope for them.
Yes.
Because they don't see my family. They used to say, "What are they doing for
Yeah,
him
up
in
there.
there?"
Yeah.
They say separate the dead, but don't hang around with people.
That's a story. We have to do that story.
Yeah.
Go on.
But but that's the reality, and for family to see that there is. You can get your family member, you can get your friend
Yeah.
better, and we were lucky to get the best of the best, and I would state that the hospital we are in, some people will get put into, they will get put in hospital.
Yeah.
We were lucky to get into a hospital, like they locked the door, they saw you getting better, to give you into a next ward where you had a little bit of freedom, and then to the point where you could come and go.
Yeah.
But like, it's to give hope to people, for Michael, we understand that depth of despair. And but you can, like, he is living proof that it can change. Like we said,
We're all
walking out of
living proof.
hazes, we felt like the three fellas who were sent to war, and we're the three
Yeah.
guys surviving, and everybody else is.
Yeah.
I was
Not
very
made
angry
it,
with
you
myself.
know?
I was
Yeah.
very angry with myself.
Okay.
After all the work we put in to get to that level of coming out and then
Yeah.
but I was very angry. It wasn't a good plan, and but I think we all gained this incredible strength. Like, I'd see Flor now, and we'll do the little bit of a laugh thing that we thought with him and Flor would come together.
Yeah.
So, like, the two of them were connect
Crabs.
and he brought them to me. And I said,
Fuck off.
He brought my own problems. He brought them up to the end. What is this? And it's funny, inside in John God did talk about, like, watch who you associate with, because no one.
You have to look after yourself first.
First of
Second
all,
show. I told you, I was going for it. I'm looking after number one here. And I met Sean, and that was fine, and everyone was going grand. Then he produces Flower.
Pull them out of a hat.
He was hiding behind the door. And it's just so amazing that you mean, oh God, what about Flower? And Flower, he used to do his interpreter. He'd speak for Flower.
Okay.
Flower never spoke.
Seemed
But
I
he,
didn't say much at that stage.
look at the way
Okay.
he speak today. And Flower, he wouldn't say a word, but he'd say what he's thinking.
That's mad. That's cool.
It was stone mad.
are we doing this in the story?
Yeah,
fine.
very quick. Okay, very quick, that dude. But this is amazing friendships to come out of a place like this.
Yeah.
This is mad. And I so much huge admiration for Flor, because I knew how dark where Flor was. Like, Flor was, it was so difficult for him even to talk. I couldn't shut up. Well, the kind of case. Well, we have to tell you, it is actually not only our 25th wedding anniversary.
We're coming out. It's all about coming out, by the way.
But it's
This is the first time.
This is not what we were going to say, Michael. 16 degrees is bad.
We love this
No,
time.
it's complicated.
but it's the 25th anniversary of Titanic movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Once it was released 25 years ago this month.
Okay.
Okay?
Oh, God.
So we're in John of God, struggling through all the shit that we had to go through till we got to a degree. Then you move on, and then now we have to tell you as well, emphasis, The door is not locked. You can walk out that door.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anytime. If you don't,
Okay.
you always stay
Yeah.
on the side of the line.
But they're come looking for you.
And we decided we were going to the pictures. To the Three Musketeers.
No, just the two of you. I don't think I was in.
No, you were allowed. We were allowed to bring you. You were allowed to come with us.
All right, right.
They didn't tell you, did they?
Do we have to bring Flor? All right. So that's fine, and this is a big thing because we're going out. We're going out the door. Outside door, Flor is huge. And it was effectively just crossing the door and going outside, and the cinema was just across the road in Slurry. And the big film on launch of
Lovely.
Titanic.
Lovely.
Brilliant. So I'd say this on a Tuesday, and we said we're going Thursday. Spot on. Dead on. Great. Looking forward to the pictures. We're going to the pictures. The boys are going out in the town. Blah, 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 blah. And come Wednesday evening, the good man Sean appears to me. And Sean says, Michael, what, Sean, what? Can't go to the pictures. Why? Come in the tears and they run down his eyes. Can't go to the pictures, Michael. Why? I heard it's an awful sad ending. Yes!
Sad. Titanic. Oh, wow.
Oh my God, it's sad! We never got to the picture.
We agreed we weren't doing that story.
That is hilarious. That's the cosmic joke.
Oh man, what a thing.
That's
But
amazing.
Again, here we are, and we're so good. But you have an incredible story, Flor. And
Yeah, Flora, Flora,
Yours what?
like Flora, just to make a kind of it. So Flora, I would have probably kept in contact with the two lads.
Yeah, but
The kind of the middleman.
Yes.
And Flora and me would talk, not all the time,
No.
but we'd talk a couple of times. But Flora would ring me and say, I've actually just come out of St. So Flora went on to live in Waterford.
Yeah.
Worked in Waterford IT, isn't it?
SETU now.
Oh, sorry. And then but Flora would ring me and say, I've just been in St. Pat's in Cork for 2 weeks. My brother thought I had gone a bit dipped a bit low.
Yeah.
And that would be kind of part of Flora's life
Yeah.
after St. John. And I
Yeah.
did a second stint,
Yeah.
thankfully, but I came back out of it. But
Yeah.
I worried this was going to be my life.
Okay.
You know, when you go in a second time, you think you. Anyway, thankfully, I broke past it. But Flora was doing repetitive minor stints, and then Flora tell him how.
Well, the last episode was in 2015, and I actually had spent some time in St. Patrick's in Dublin, and spent the Christmas there. Well, I left for Christmas, but did the program up there and left, and I knew in myself I wasn't really still fixed. I wasn't. I knew I wasn't happy inside, so I went home anyway. I tried to go back to Waterford, tried to go back to work, and the managers saw soon enough that, "Jeez, Flor, you're still not right. I think you still need to go out on some sick leave." And this was coming up to, it was March now at this stage, maybe February anyway, the end of February, and so I started seeing the consultant again, and I just took time. I was starting to stay in bed, but. I went to see this doctor in the local health service, and he looked at me and he said that no, I think there's a treatment that does suit you, and it's this electric shock therapy, and of course that it wouldn't be my first choice.
Did you tell him to go again with something else?
I suppose at the same time I tried everything else. But my sister, in fairness, my leash, she was with me and she said, Flor, I think it's worth a shot.
Do it for Michael.
But
You're sedated, aren't you? For
yeah,
that?
exactly. But it's nothing like what you see in the films. Like it's very well monitored. Like you are sedated like an operation, and it's a very mild shock. But I tell you. For me, it was the quickest that I've ever recovered from depression.
You didn't want to go through that again.
Yeah, is that what it is like?
Is it uncomfortable?
how it
Is there
works?
It's not uncomfortable. It's not uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You might have a a slight memory loss, but
Okay.
definitely not uncomfortable because, as I say, it's like you put under
So it is-
anesthetic and you wake up in your bed again only a few minutes later.
Brilliant. I don't know, I suppose they do it over a couple of weeks. They might do it 3 or 4 times, but geez, once I got the second one, like I was seeing the light again. Brilliant.
And within a month I was back at work. And my manager was amazed at how well I looked at my family, that they were saying, well, Flor, if this ever happens again,
You're going back.
this is the one. But please, touch wood, I haven't had a relapse since 2015. I do still take a small amount of medication, and there's a part of me saying I have to take this medication. It's one tablet, and I'd say there's a lot of people out there would be delighted if they only had to take one tablet a day.
Absolutely, yeah.
But as another kind of metaphor, it is a jigsaw. The medication is one small part. Having a job that I like is a big part. Having a supportive family is a big part. Having good friends and colleagues, having some self-love, confidence. The 3 essentials of life: something to work at, something to hope for, and something to love. And if I experience all them, and there is and I do. I can cope with feelings now that I mightn't have coped with as much before, like maybe feelings. I still can get stressed and anxious, but I know I can. I have a lot of self-knowledge now, and even though I didn't finish, religious life, like I do believe there's a golden thread there. I completed a master's in applied spirituality there 2 years ago, in the very same place where I was studying theology, and the only college that runs this course is the university I'm working in.
Wow.
So if you don't think that is something kind of more than coincidence about that, the only university and where I got my job that does this, and I really enjoyed it, and I do believe there's a psycho-spiritual, for me anyway, has some play in how to get through this life.
That's brilliant. That's amazing.
There are all sorts of paths, And as Flor says, you get stronger. Like you said, good that after all this you felt, I'm only on one tablet, and that's good. Like, okay, I'll take it. I don't really need it, but I'm gonna take it anyway.
Need it.
You know what I'm saying. So,
but it's only one piece of jigsaw.
One piece of jigsaw, and fortunately for us, we all got stronger.
Yeah.
Like at the minute, I'm John Wayne. I'm whoever.
I always were.
I worked hard on it.
And that's
I had to work on it.
It does take work, but it does take patience.
It takes work.
It takes, and you don't do it on your own.
No, you need help.
So that's it's and that God, we're.
It's just know there is help there. Just know this isn't the end of the world. Just know that you had your experience and started saying, hold on a minute.
I got through it,
I think everybody's battles in some shape or form, whether short bouts, easy bouts, or long bouts. But it's
and we can turn around and have fun.
Yeah,
we have a bit of a
had
laugh.
Such
now
a laugh.
and
We met up for, as I said, the 25-year anniversary up in Mullingar, and we had such a laugh that night, and it kind of reminded me of that. I remember that film when Harry Met Sally, and the scene where the woman is faking an orgasm at the table.
Reminded you of that, didn't it?
We said we weren't going to talk about this.
No, but
I know what you mean, though.
But we were having such a laugh at the table. I'm sure that there's the film another person at another table says, "I'm having whatever they're having."
But the great thing we said coming up here, because Mike, we're all kind of conscious. We just wanted to be as natural as it has been, but we did, like we've come from the place. Like I like the line. I don't know whether I read it or came up with it, but if you want to travel to the most dangerous place in the world, travel to the back of your mind. And that's where the condition and conditions like it bring you to. And when you go back there, best of luck finding the lifeboat. But there is a lifeboat. It mightn't come today. It mightn't come tomorrow, or it mightn't come next week. See, the problem is you don't know when the end is. It's like looking out into the ocean and wondering where's land. Where is land?
Yes.
And then you give up and you just stop breathing or want to stop breathing and just don't stop breathing.
Flor,
Don't stop breathing.
I remember you talking about fears, big and small fears. You know, that again. You
Yeah,
have
well, I
more,
suppose, yeah.
you have more skills now to deal with them, or
I
whatever.
do, yeah, because a lot of the fears were generated in my mind. They
Okay.
weren't real fears. They were
Yes.
self-created fears, and other fears was, I've gained confidence in myself and that I can, about living a happy, joyful life. That I had the confidence and enough. What would you say? Whatever one needs within oneself to live a good, to live
Joyful.
a life a self-directed life, and I have a way more fear like you, and of course everyone has fears growing up, and either self-created or the environment, and that plays a part in bringing I suppose seeing life as fearful.
Sure.
Yeah.
There's another thing you were talking about before, and I really liked it, was about joyful. That you were talking about having a joyful life, and a lot of us don't really think about that. And there's a friend of mine that was struggling and going through something like yourselves, and he was telling me about his treatment and all that kind of thing. And he was telling me that he's going to buy a vintage tractor.
Right.
And I was saying, oh, yeah. And he said, yeah. And he was saying the person, that told him to buy this tractor because he wanted it. And there was no logical reason to have it. do you know what I mean? And I think, wow, brilliant. We should all buy a vintage tractor or whatever the hell is our buzz for joy.
Yeah.
And don't wait till we're in crisis point just think, how are we having a joyful life today, or what can we appreciate?
Exactly, because it's about living in the present. Like that. All you can you only can experience joy or whatever in the present.
Yes.
You can experience, I suppose, maybe hope or something for the future. But no, it's about trying to get a moment of joy in every day, and or at least peace or whatever.
Gratitude. Gratitude is good.
Yeah, gratitude as
realizing what you have rather than what you don't have.
Very lucky. Yeah, just be able to sit in your room and look around you and think, Yeah. Be happy with yourself,
Good.
We kind of gravitate to things that we don't have. We think like, no offense to you, the tractor's going to make us happy. I think you just got to realize what you have.
Yeah.
And I tell you what I realize I've had, and the lads will testify it, and you will testify it. I have my mind back.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I have my own thoughts back, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent. I have my own thoughts back.
Yeah.
I didn't own my own thoughts.
Yeah.
I was ashamed of my own thoughts.
Right.
Yeah.
It is a cruel thing, and that's what that does to you. You don't have your own mindset anymore. But I'm 10 times. I reckon I've gone through a lot since.
Yes.
If somebody told me what I've gone through since, friend said to me, Sean, how did you get through all that? And one of the key things was I accepted the things I control.
Yes.
And I can control my thoughts now, thankfully. And I can control what I can't decide that Michael, God forbid, or somebody is going to go out tomorrow and do something. But if I see it, I feel I'm strong enough to be able to say something. But it's control. And if you recognize the things I can control whether I pick up my phone. I can control whether I'm going to answer that text message from somebody I don't like. I can decide whether I'm going to respond to. Your time's up. But it's that control of your situation. I can go for a walk. I can't go for a walk. I'm not going to feel guilty if I don't go for a walk. I'm not going to feel guilty if I eat a bar of chocolate.
Yeah.
I'm not going to feel guilty if I put on weight. I am who I am, and be comfortable in your own skin. And don't let other people judge you. Don't do that. Just realize what you want, and if that's what you want and you're happy to eat the bag of crisps, eat the bag of crisps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or watch the movie and sit down. Sometimes say there's no such thing as a wasted day doing nothing. Sometimes we have to sit down and do nothing. My wife says, Sean, sit down. You're moving all the time. But that's me. That's how I keep my brain in tune. I need to be moving. I can sit still. I hill walk to get open space, but I need to move. And if that's what you need to do, move. If you need to sit down for a while, sit down for a while. If you need a small drink, but don't drink the bottle.
Yes.
And it's what Mike said, alcohol has a big role in this. Big role. So if you're feeling where you shouldn't be, leave the bottle down, go get a glass of water.
If you're feeling low.
Just don't go near the things.
Alcohol,
and
you're
other things, unfortunately, drugs as well.
Yes.
Just realize that's false. That's false. Mike talks about the tablets. The tablets, when you're not well, are good because you
They're-
need them
they're
to prop you.
helpers.
Yes.
They're not. Like if I had a heart
helpers.
condition, I take tablets.
Yeah.
If I have blood pressure, I take tablets. So don't let tablets. I have friends say, "Oh, don't take a paracetamol." I got a headache. I'm taking a paracetamol.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So medication has its role, but other medication, self-medication, whether it be drugs or alcohol, and their bottom line, that's what's leading to the figures we're seeing there.
Right.
They need to say they're not an out. They're an in.
Do you guys like have a kind of an MOT checklist for yourselves now, like that? I need to be eating right or walking right or any of that crack? No.
No, not really. No, you know.
Moving or
You know.
Well, no, yeah, I suppose
Do maintenance, like they do maintenance,
You know,
kinda.
I suppose I do believe that I need some exercise every day, and I know I should eat less.
We all should.
Like I'm always saying, but I
not
Crack that one.
I suppose there is about getting enough sleep.
Yeah.
Sleep's important.
Yes. About if some.
Sleep is huge.
Yeah.
it is, yeah.
Huge.
Yeah. Sleep affects mood big time.
Having something enjoyable, create something enjoyable to do. Like one of my hobbies now is set dancing, and I've got.
See, this fella couldn't talk.
Flying it.
Genies out the box.
Flying it.
But
Set dancing,
set
yeah.
dancing, and it's a great exercise. You meet great people,
Social and crack.
Yeah.
crack, and like I've gone away to weekends in France, Germany. Like Ireland isn't big enough for me. I'm on the circuit though.
You're gone international.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I'm saying.
So you can see where we've come from.
That's
And
class.
you see where we are.
I just really want to say as well that like it's really refreshing for like because like anyone from like any generations like kind of before me don't really open up about things, and especially men, and it's just really refreshing to hear you like talking about that, and it's just
You'll be open. You
and it's re-
bastards about anything.
and I really enjoyed it. Well. Like I could kind of when you were each telling your stories, there was like certain parts of each of your stories that I could relate to as well, and I could see even though it's completely different walks of life, like
That's the
like-
reason we're here. Hopefully, some bits of our stories will.
Definitely.
Somebody.
it's like even if it's a small part, like with Flor, with yourself, like the whole thing of like you saying like going to college and like realizing this is what I want to do and trying to figure things out from there. Like so many people, like I could relate heavily to that, and so many people can as well. Like or like with yourself then as well when you were saying with the dyslexia, like I ended up realizing a huge part of my depression came from I had undiagnosed autism and I got diagnosed a few years ago. So it's weird how like something like that can come in. And then with yourself then as well, you saying about like the need to hide, like where it's like when you were got put into that job where like you couldn't hide anymore. And I can relate to that because when I was in college, I used to always hide in my room when I was younger. But then when I was in college, suddenly people were looking at me like, "Why are you hiding?"
Yeah.
And it's really nice to see all those elements there.
Yeah.
And like
Connection to so many things.
Yeah.
I love the way you can do that. And we had you here.
And like Sean says, if it's only one person,
Yeah,
this might
anybody,
help. And
anything.
like Stephen, it has helped you. So I think it has.
Definitely.
This has been worth doing.
It's definitely.
There was 3 old fellas in there today. That's that bad.
Less than 3.
Okay.
The thing. It's definitely one thing that's mad that's helped me is definitely the way you talk about like what's blowing my mind, and I feel absolutely like honored. I feel blessed to just be in the room with this relationship. I have never seen in a movie, I've never seen in a book, I've never seen even the idea of this type of connection in my life. It is like I've witnessed and like 3 people who were put here on this earth for each other being in the same room. And what's mad to me is that like I do think when I feel like that like real depth of loneliness, to think that if it ever got so bad I'd end up in the rock bottom, which is in the hospital.
Yes.
That you can still find friendship as pure as that mightn't be that
Exactly.
blows my mind.
Exactly.
And
sometimes you
it
have
just is
to
amazing.
go to rock bottom to to actually start living.
yeah.
yeah.
And to me, it gives me comfort knowing that if I ever got to that stage again, or anything you know, as you say, God's there, whatever you want to call it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
There's no
it is.
hopeless
It is.
situation.
Everybody
That-
learns
that-
it differently.
And I say God, spirituality like Sean's mother-in-law, late mother-in-law, Sean gave me a prayer. Like, I thought I was the spiritual one, you know. But Sean, I think, would have made a way better priest than I ever would.
Oh, no doubt about that.
Because I couldn't even say the rosary.
You haven't seen my inside my head.
No, but a lovely prayer. And I thought it was a prayer that she got from some, prayer book. But it was a prayer she put together herself, and I carry her around myself. And it was Sean's wife, Eileen, and she has the original copy. And it's a prayer that gives a lot of hope. Yeah. So it's all the bits and pieces.
It's a jigsaw. You said it.
Everything is jigsaw, and even the little story with the religion thing. And John of God's had his church and that. And so between us, the eating and the exercise and everything, and the tablets and we said, what else can we do? What else can we do? Try and get a bit of help from, So we hit the church. We were in there, front row. We were there. I'm there.
Twice sometimes.
Talked out.
Yeah, if there was one on, we were in for it. You just reach.
Yeah.
Give me.
Yeah.
Help me. Give me something.
Anything.
And it was so.
Yeah.
So somebody's watching this now and they're struggling themselves. Like maybe was it your GP is the first person to talk to, or who would you talk
to?
It
was
my family for me.
My family for me too, but my family was.
But your GP, you might have families.
Yeah.
So your GP
they were fortunate.
obviously
your first port of call. Just tell them that you're struggling.
GP, well, he's the first guy.
Yeah.
Well, there's the phone lines as well, Hugh.
Is there?
We shouldn't disregard
Yeah.
phone lines.
Yeah.
Which is huge now.
There's multiple.
Yes, that's the
There's
good
multiple now.
Yes.
We can't say there's not.
Yeah.
But you see, I keep saying that the hardest thing to do is when you're there is to accept you're there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Like, it's intangible. If my hand is sore, I know my hand is sore. But when my brain won't stop talking to me, won't let me alone.
I know.
It won't let you alone. Well, when you realize you don't control your thoughts, you've got a problem. And you need to be able to say something or write it. Send a text. That's the great thing about
Text
phones.
now,
You can make a cry. You can't say there's not a medium.
Yeah.
You can't say there's not a medium. But it's like dinner. Put the meal in front of me. I eat it or don't. Realize where your head's at. Realize the symptoms about what we discussed, and they're there plain to see. It's not an excuse, but you see, when you're there, lads, it's so hard to reach out. You don't want the lifeboat. You actually don't, because you don't feel worthy of it.
Yeah.
That's the biggest challenge. You don't feel worthy of it.
But
And that is the biggest issue, and you want to be free. And the freedom is not freedom. It's an end. That's not freedom.
At the end.
But Mike, what you did was not freedom. It was freedom. It's freedom from my thoughts. It's freedom from my hell. But you're giving a hell to people who will never get answers. Never know that they could have helped if they only knew.
Yeah.
That's the challenge today, lads. That's why we're lucky, and I'm really proud of what you said as well, and what we've all opened up about. But the whole reason to be here, don't kid yourselves, lads.
It is serious.
You know, it is great because we can laugh now.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is laughter there. We said it, even in the midst of our despair in the hospital, we found humour. That story of Titanic, there is humour, and humour is that release. You see, tears is a release. Laughter is just tricking your brain, and that's what you do. You have to trick your brain. That's what you do. You just trick. I tricked myself. You know, one time, I'll tell this story. I woke up and, jeez, I thought actually I dreamt I was well.
Yeah.
I woke up and I thought I dreamt everything that I experienced in St. John's was a dream, and I was back depressed. So I was trying to work out what had happened the day before to validate, was I back out of St. John of God's, or had I experienced what I just experienced? And the sense of relief when I realised I was actually where I thought I was. Except the dog was asleep beside me. No, but in serious, I had that, and I think that's it's a big thing. But I just say that the people out listening,
Okay,
it can get better, and it does get better. It does.
Wow.
And there's, the fact is, there's a lot of help there now.
Yes.
That's cool.
And young people in particular use happy their phones and all this sort of stuff, communicate with each other, talk to each other.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, it's not like that, and it's so hard.
You can all do it very well when it's where you going tonight.
Yeah.
We're lucky, you're right.
Where's the cheapest pizza?
We're lucky.
Yeah.
We're lucky that that's why we came, because at that table that night, in fairness, Mike, you said we got to tell this story.
Yeah,
We're looking at us
If it'll
thinking,
help.
we were talking about an event that we were at.
Yeah.
Oh, we were at an event, all right.
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
at a life and a death event
Yeah.
because we walked out.
But you were laughing your heads off at this table,
Yes.
were you?
Yeah. Because that's what it
Lost,
does.
completely
It lifts
lost.
you. You said, when does the light come back in? The light comes back in small amounts, in minutes, in hours, and eventually each day, as you said, you woke up one day and you said, actually, that wasn't a bad day.
Yeah.
I didn't have a bad thought. And that's
Takes time.
how it
Takes
lifts.
time. But you have to get your body in the place that
Yeah.
your body can cope with this.
Get exercise,
Emphasis
get
again,
some
exercise,
air.
and
Don't,
sleep.
don't,
Sleep and
don't, just don't hide. Just don't hide.
Yeah.
Well, thanks very
Thank-
much, lads. That's
yeah.
brilliant. Fair play.
Like,
You really did well.
like I genuinely, I watch podcasts and stuff. There's not like, I've watched every type of content all over the world. Like, this has never happened before. Like, it just hasn't. Like three people of your different backgrounds coming together, like, who didn't have connection prior to there. And like, yeah, thank you for when Hugh told me about you coming on, and my jaw dropped because I went through everything I'd ever seen in my head, and I just never witnessed anything like this. And to be here in person, like, yeah, thanks for like sharing that with the world, and like, and yeah,
yeah,
I
it's
don't
really
know.
generous to share your story like that.
Yeah.
I think,
Yes.
thanks.
Yeah, because you didn't have to, and you
Right.
did, and you came together and did it.
No, well, yeah,
And you didn't
yeah,
have
Sean-
to.
Sean ran with it. Like I kind of, was well, if it happens, it happens. I'm not going to force it.
Yeah.
And then he texts me and said, I hope I don't get stage fright.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks,
So-
everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're delighted to
I
be
think
here.
we've said enough.
Yeah.
Are you going to shut
Hey.
up now?
He's making up for last round.
Yeah.
Right, thank you all.
So-
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Bye.
Thanks
Bye.
everyone for watching. See you next week. Bye.
I love the taste of strawberry medicine as it runs down my neck. I feel it draw me in, and when it settles on my mind, just know you'll find me there inside.